Chapter 90 The Eternal Sword. Liu Feng suddenly drew a precious sword, which greatly surprised the onlookers. After all, they all knew that without a sword, a swordsman's fighting power would be greatly reduced. Only with a sword in hand could one unleash their full potential. He had previously displayed impressive fist techniques, leading most to believe that he was skilled in fist fighting, and no one would have guessed that he was a master swordsman. "I can defeat you in 10 moves." Although Ji Lai was confident, he was not blindly arrogant. He could defeat Zhang Yan in 3 moves, but he couldn't defeat the unassuming Liu Feng. Therefore, he extended the move to 10 moves, showing that he took Liu Feng seriously. Left. The fiery cloud blade cleaved through the void, and Ji Lai launched the first attack. The sharp, fiery red blade light tore through the air and slashed towards Liu Feng, who was not far away. Clang! Liu Feng's expression remained unchanged. He swung the demon-slaying sword with an uncanny speed, unleashing a sword aura to block the blade's edge. Fire clouds fill the sky. A blazing red light flashed across the blade of the fire cloud blade, spewing out tongues of fire that covered the sky, and the scorching air waves burst out in a fan shape. The wind sweeps away the clouds. A flash of fire rapidly magnified in Liu Feng's eyes. Just as the blade light was about to arrive, his figure suddenly spun rapidly, transforming into a tornado. Streams of sword energy swept out, repelling the howling wave of fire. Ding 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 ding. In an instant, the entire platform was filled with dazzling golden sword energy and fiery red blade light, completely obscuring the figures and making their trajectory impossible to detect with the naked eye. Bang! After 10 moves, the two exchanged a punch, then each took 10 steps back and stood still. 11 moves have passed. "It seems your promise of 10 moves is impossible to fulfill," Liu Feng said calmly. On the other side, Ji Lai's face was gloomy. He did not expect Liu Feng to be so troublesome. After 10 moves, he had not gained any advantage. Could it be that the other party was just showing weakness before? Humph! Don't think I can't do anything to you just because of this. My strength is far more than this. As soon as he finished speaking, Ji Lai rushed out like lightning, his fiery cloud blade slashing straight out, simple yet ruthless. Liu Feng remained unfazed and charged forward with his sword. Soon, the two figures became entangled, their fiery red blade light and sword energy crisscrossing and clashing against each other. In no time, the entire platform was covered with dense sword and blade marks, resembling a honeycomb. Below the platform, most of the Dragon Hammer tribesmen were dumbfounded. The clash between these two was on a completely different level from the previous battles. It was incredibly intense. Apart from their first exchange, it was impossible to tell who was fighting whom, who had the upper hand, or who was at a disadvantage. All that could be seen was that each strike was faster than the last, and each sword strike was more ferocious than the last, cutting the platform to pieces. The two figures were no longer visible. Only sword energy and blade light could be seen, striking from the center of the platform to the edge, from the platform to mid-air, from mid-air to the stone pillars below the platform, and then back to the platform along the 4 stone pillars. They were almost everywhere, and every place was a battleground. This is terrifying. They've already exchanged 100 moves, and there's still no clear winner. In the VIP seats, the 4 elders looked at the two on the stage with shocked eyes. Compared to Ji Lai, they were more surprised by Liu Feng's strength. With the realm of a first-level swordsman, he was able to fight to such an extent with the Dragon Hammer warrior who had won 3 consecutive championships. It was truly terrifying. This child has unlimited potential. No wonder he has won the favor of a reclusive master. Even if he loses to Ji Lai today, it will not affect his reputation as a peerless genius. Elder Zhuin's eyes flickered as he sighed. Yes, this Yinglong is even more terrifying than that kid Ji Lai. If he is given a few more years, his combat power will probably increase significantly. At that time, he will be the #1 warrior of Dragon Hammer in all his right. Elder Qing Feng of the Rain Master Department also nodded. Apart from the Golden Dragon Clan chief and the Empress, no one knew Liu Feng's true identity. They all regarded him as Yinglong of the Feng Feng tribe without any suspicion. How is this possible? How can this kid be so powerful? Zhang Yan, who was eliminated, stared wide-eyed, seemingly unable to believe what he was seeing. He had thought it was just a pretentious kid, so why did he suddenly unleash a fighting power stronger than him? Suddenly, Boom! The fiery red blade light and the dazzling sword energy collided fiercely, soaring into the sky, and powerful shockwaves spread outwards, forming ripples in the air. After the loud noise, everyone hurriedly looked over and saw that Liu Feng's demon-slaying sword was blocking Ji Lai's fiery cloud blade. Neither of them was willing to give way, and they were locked in a stalemate. Starfire stream. Ji Lai freed his left hand, which was not used for the knife, and threw a punch at Liu Feng's head. Liu Feng had no time to dodge, and his left fist transformed into a python as he charged forward. Bang! Like a thunderclap, both of them were hit by a strong recoil. However, Liu Feng was sent flying backward, while Ji Lai only took 4 or 5 steps back before regaining his footing. It's still lacking in finesse. In the VIP section, the Golden Dragon Clan chief shook his head. It seemed he had been too impatient. To enter the desolate domain, it appeared that Liu Feng's current strength was still insufficient. He would have to wait another year. Below the stage, many of those who secretly supported Liu Feng also showed expressions of regret, clearly expressing their sorrow over Liu Feng's defeat. However, the expected scene did not occur. Just as he was about to fall off the platform, Liu Feng suddenly did a somersault, tapping the edge of the platform with his sword. Using the rebound force, he miraculously returned to the platform after several turns in the air. Ji Lai, who thought he had won, immediately froze with a bright smile, and the corner of his mouth twitched violently. Is this guy unbeatable? Ji Lai's face was grim. The Earth-rank fist technique, Great Star Flame Fist, is divided into 4 forms. The Star Extreme Fire Flow is the most powerful form, but even so, it still failed to completely defeat Liu Feng. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Liu Feng's expression became much more serious. This Ji Lai was the strongest young person he had encountered so far, with domineering strength that was probably comparable to some high-level swordsman. If he doesn't use that move, he has no chance of winning today. If you can withstand this sword strike, I will admit defeat. After speaking, Liu Feng slowly raised the long sword in his hand, a dreamlike look appearing in his eyes, and a mysterious aura arose spontaneously. What? He actually has a trump card. Ji Lai was shocked. He pushed his fiery red true energy to its limit, creating a thick defense on his body. Then he poured all his power into his fist, preparing his strongest punch. Clearly, both of them intended to use this final move to decide the outcome of the battle. In Liu Feng's eyes, he seemed to see layers of mountains and desolate deserts, all sorts of scenes, alternating at an incredible speed. An unnamed aura rapidly gathered towards the tip of the sword. Stop this charade. A dangerous thought flashed through Ji Lai's mind, and he shouted loudly, unleashing a punch containing boundless power. At this moment, Liu Feng seemed to freeze, motionless, exuding an aura of eternity and immortality. He gripped the demon-slaying sword and slashed out with an extremely slow, seemingly slow but actually fast trajectory. The Eternal Sword. At this moment, Liu Feng seemed to have transformed into a stone sculpture. The sword in his hand seemed to have a visible trajectory, but it was also impossible to see it, making it difficult to be certain. Click. Invisible to the naked eye, Ji Lai's fist energy made a crisp sound and split in 2. Puff. Spitting out a mouthful of blood, Ji Lai looked on in disbelief as he flew off the platform and crashed heavily to the ground. In an instant, the entire arena fell silent, not a sound could be heard. Chapter 91 The Strongest. Ji Lai has lost. Ji Lai, who had won the championship 3 times in a row, was defeated by Liu Feng, who was just starting out. At this moment, everyone was in disbelief and deeply shocked. However, the intense impact was only temporary. Once most people had recovered, a deafening roar of cheers erupted from below the platform. Yinglong warrior! Well done! Yinglong, you're so handsome! The various shouts were incredibly noisy and resounded through the sky. In the VIP section, the Golden Dragon Clan chief sighed. As expected of the man chosen by the desolate King Chu Tianhen, he is indeed extraordinary. The success of this mission hinges on him. 1 month from now, on the 7th day of the 6th lunar month, we will embark on a journey to the desolate region. Let Yinglong be the leader of our Dragon Hammer tribe. Perhaps he can bring unparalleled glory to our tribe, Elder Zhuin suggested. In the past, Ji Lai had always led the team, but he was too arrogant and did not know how to coordinate team operations. Therefore, in the last expedition to the wasteland, the Dragon Hammer tribe performed poorly, like a disorganized mess. They were not only inferior to the Thunderfall tribe, but also to many weaker tribes, which made them feel very embarrassed. Liu Feng's appearance undoubtedly gave them a glimmer of hope. He was stronger, had an extraordinary temperament, and a mild temper. As a leader, he was far superior to Ji Lai. The Golden Dragon Clan chief nodded. "That's exactly what I was thinking." This Namuta conference was to test Liu Feng's strength and see if he was qualified to shoulder Chu Tianhen's heavy responsibility. Of course, on the other hand, it was also to establish Liu Feng's prestige in the tribe and pave the way for the upcoming trip to the wilderness. At the behest of the Golden Dragon Clan chief, Elder Tianfeng slowly stood up. "The Namuta conference has now come to a successful conclusion. I hereby announce that Yinglong has become the new generation of Dragon Hammer Warrior, and will be rewarded with 500 spirit stones and 1 wild spirit pill. In addition, after the unanimous decision of the clan chief and elders, Yinglong will lead the young talents of our Dragon Hammer tribe to the wilderness on the 7th day of the 6th month to participate in the Great Wilderness Trial held once every 3 years. The Dragon Hammer tribesmen below the stage were buzzing with discussion. Is the Great Wilderness Trial coming again? I see. No wonder the elders attach so much importance to this conference. That's the trial that will determine who is the greatest warrior of the Great Wilderness. We performed terribly last time, so this time we must redeem ourselves. Yes, I hope Yinglong can lead my Dragon Hammer tribe to turn the tide." Hearing these comments, Liu Feng was slightly surprised. He flew down from the platform, stopped in the VIP section, and walked to the elders. After bowing to the group, Liu Feng asked with some confusion, "What is the Great Wilderness Trial? Could the elders explain it in detail?" No problem." Elder Tianfeng nodded in satisfaction. Liu Feng's sudden rise as a dark horse greatly enhanced the prestige of his Wind Defense Department. After all, there hadn't been a Dragon Hammer warrior for more than 10 years, and Liu Feng's rise was perfectly timed. The Great Wilderness Trial is a trial that the Wilderness Domain and the 8 tribes hold every 3 years. The trial involves young experts from the Wilderness King clan and the 8 tribes entering the sacred land of my Wilderness clan to undergo 3 trials. Those who pass the final test will be awarded the title of the Great Wilderness's #1 warrior and will be bestowed with generous rewards. I see. Liu Feng pondered for a moment, then asked, "If more than one person passes the test in the end, will they all receive the title of the Great Wilderness's #1 warrior?" "Of course not." Elder Tianfeng shook his head. "If that were the case, what would be the point of this title? Only one person can pass the final trial." "Oh." Liu Feng looked surprised. Elder Tianfeng's lips curled into a mysterious smile. After all, the trial of the sacred beast Wilderness is not so easy to pass. Wilderness? Liu Feng's pupils suddenly contracted. Isn't this sacred beast one of the targets he's been searching for? The giant mountains. Surrounding the majestic, rolling mountains, a thick fog lingers year-round, shrouding this highest mountain range on the continent in mystery. Deep within the mountains, miasma hangs heavy, and the roars of beasts often echo, chilling the soul. As the sunlight streamed down, its golden radiance was blocked by the mist, creating a dazzling display of 7 colors. Deep within the mountains, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth is exceptionally rich, but due to the influence of miasma, cultivators cannot directly refine it. If they forcibly inhale it into their bodies, they will inevitably suffer from qi deviation. On the mountain peak that split open in the middle, Liu Feng stood with his hands behind his back. Behind him, the corpse demon stood quietly 20 meters away, his aura concealed, without uttering a word. He looked down and saw 2 enormous shadows colliding from time to time in the mist hundreds of meters away, producing deafening roars. Roar! A terrifying roar rang out, and suddenly more than a dozen large trees were knocked down. A black bear the size of a house was blasted towards them. The black bear was hairless and covered with a thick layer of scales. Its blood-red pupils seemed to be dripping blood, revealing an eerie feeling. Black-armored demon bear, a peak level 2 Shen-rank demon beast. Despite the fierce wind blowing against his face, Liu Feng remained motionless, only his clothes fluttering in the wind. Thump, thump, thump. The ground trembled, and an even larger black shadow stepped out of the mist. It was a huge lizard with a pale golden horn on its forehead. Its cold and ruthless eyes first locked onto the black-armored demon bear, and then looked towards Liu Feng's location. Unicorn Dragon Lizard, a level 3 Shen-rank demonic beast. Roar! The unicorn lizard roared to the sky, violently distorting and dispersing the surrounding mist. A bolt of lightning suddenly shot out from its horn, splitting a large tree in front of it into charred remains, which then burned fiercely. Liu Feng's gaze was cold. The black-armored demonic bear and the unicorn dragon lizard were both kings of this area. He released his aura here to lure out the monsters. Both demonic beasts were enormous, like small mountains, exuding a terrifying aura that whipped up a whirlwind. These two demonic beasts are about as strong as me, so they should be able to help me hone my physical skills. If others knew Liu Feng's thoughts, they would definitely say he was arrogant and conceited. You should know that demonic beasts are much stronger than cultivators of the same level. Even a brilliant and talented combat genius might not be able to defeat them, let alone two demonic beasts with higher cultivation levels than him, whose combat power is doubled. The black-armored demonic bear looked at the unicorn dragon lizard with apprehension, its body slightly lowered. Instinct told it that it had to eliminate any human who ventured into this place, but the unicorn dragon lizard in front of it was several times more dangerous than this human. If it was not careful, it would be killed. However, the unicorn dragon lizard did not take the black-armored demonic bear seriously. Its demonic eyes were fixed on Liu Feng. Its intuition told it that this human was unfathomable and had to be eliminated first. Roar! The unicorn dragon lizard roared at the demonic bear, then charged straight at Liu Feng with its speed increasing dramatically. Its massive size seemed to have no effect on its speed, leaving behind a series of afterimages. Left. A golden unicorn flashed, and a bolt of lightning suddenly struck out with terrifying force, engulfing Liu Feng. Perfect timing. Liu Feng transformed his right fist into a python and unleashed a powerful strike, the desolate python spitting its heart, directly meeting the oncoming lightning. Boom! The violent lightning shattered into pieces, and streams of electricity surged wildly in all directions. Most of them struck Liu Feng's body, burning scorch marks on his white robes and penetrating his skin and muscles, instantly flowing throughout his entire body. So refreshing! Liu Feng couldn't help but shout. If it were before, he would probably have been seriously injured by such a strong electric shock. However, after being tempered by Sun Zhongguo's rare and precious materials, these fragmented currents no longer posed any threat to him. Instead, they became nourishing substances, tempering his muscles in an extremely domineering way. Whoosh! The black-armored demonic bear also broke through the ground beneath its feet, charged up, and slammed its huge paws angrily towards Liu Feng. Liu Feng neither dodged nor evaded, but threw a punch directly, intending to meet fist with fist, head-on, without using any tricks. His purpose was to take this opportunity to train his body. He didn't even plan to use the demon-slaying sword anymore, and would directly use his body to withstand the attack to see how far he could go. Chapter 92 Earth Rising Dragon. Bang! The two fists collided fiercely, and instantly, a shockwave carrying countless fragments of stone swept out from the center of the man and the beast, with fallen leaves filling the sky and dust obscuring the sun. Whoosh! Just as he was showing no sign of backing down, the black-armored demonic bear suddenly opened its blood-red maw and spewed a cloud of black mist-like energy at Liu Feng. Liu Feng's expression changed slightly, and a layer of protective energy quickly appeared on his body, condensing into armor to protect him. This was the second level of the Heavenly Gang Physique, Qi transformation into armor. Boom! The black mist-like energy bombarded Liu Feng, instantly creating a dent in his protective armor and sending him flying. Liu Feng spun in mid-air, lightly touching the pebbles that hadn't yet fallen with his feet, and rose straight up. He then unleashed another punch, his body falling like a wild goose, heading straight for the black-armored demon bear. The black-armored demonic bear's bloodshot eyes were filled with surprise and doubt. It had not expected Liu Feng's body to be so powerful. Normally, the reason why demonic beasts are stronger than humans is mainly because of their physical strength. However, this human in front of it was completely different. He was like a humanoid demonic beast. His body was no weaker than theirs, but his speed was much faster. Liu Feng's purpose in throwing the punch was not to defeat the two demonic beasts, but to temper his body while also pondering the third move of the Python Dragon Fist, the first move of the true Qi transformation dragon stage. At first, The two demonic beasts were rather clumsy and their coordination was very poor, which gave Liu Feng an opportunity to deal with them using his body without having to use his swordsmanship. However, the two demonic beasts quickly became smarter, taking turns attacking and defending, putting pressure on Liu Feng at the same time. This caught Liu Feng off guard, causing him to suffer a small loss and fall into a disadvantageous position. Crack! Silver arcs of lightning shot from his side, and a fierce glint flashed in the blood-red eyes of the unicorn dragon lizard. It moved with lightning speed and thunderous roar, burning the air in front of it into a vacuum. Humph! Wrath of the divine wind! A glint flashed in Liu Feng's eyes, and the demon-slaying sword instantly appeared in his hand. He unleashed a thick sword aura in mid-air, which was exceptionally domineering. Wherever it went, the air was swept away, filled with boundless explosive power, giving people a feeling of being unable to resist. Crack! Click! The lightning bolt was cleaved in two by the sword, its unstoppable force striking the massive head of the unicorn dragon lizard, leaving a deep, bone-deep gash from which blood flowed freely. The lizard's enormous body was sent flying, rolling several times on the ground, causing it to shake violently. Lightning crackled and charred, and the forest was reduced to ashes. With a single sword strike, Liu Feng temporarily subdued the unicorn dragon lizard. He sheathed his demon-slaying sword and looked at the black-horned demon bear with a smile. "Keep going. Don't worry, if I break through, I won't kill you." Roar! The black-armored demonic bear roared in fury. This lowly human was actually using it as a tool for practicing his fist techniques. How could the proud bear tolerate this? It immediately felt an urge to tear Liu Feng to shreds. "If you don't come, I'm coming." Snap! With a single stomp, Liu Feng snapped the tree branch beneath his feet, and rode the wind, the roar of dragons and pythons echoing around him. He then unleashed a punch at the black-armored demonic bear. Boom! The black-armored demonic bear was also enraged. It grabbed a boulder from the side with its huge paw and smashed it down on Liu Feng. Without even looking, Liu Feng punched the boulder directly. Instantly, the boulder, which was about 10 feet long and wide, was blasted into dust and scattered everywhere. Boom, 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 boom. Two figures, one large and one small, were entangled together. The man and the beast exchanged countless punches and took countless blows, but they had forgotten everything else and only knew how to keep throwing punch after punch, showing a life-or-death attitude. Bang! After another heavy punch, Liu Feng's body flew backward and slammed into a mountain wall, creating a huge crater that he embedded himself deep inside. A hint of joy flashed in the black-armored demonic bear's eyes. Ignoring the pain on its body, it stomped its paws on the ground, its massive body leaping into the air, and slapped Liu Feng with its palm from mid-air. Finally, it could get rid of this despicable human. How could it let such an opportunity slip by? After killing Liu Feng, it could also deal with a severely injured unicorn lizard not far away. After that, it could rule this area at will. In Liu Feng's eyes, the demonic bear's enormous body rapidly enlarged. If this palm strike landed, he would likely be severely injured even if he didn't die. The corpse demon had already appeared less than 10 meters away from Liu Feng. It was just waiting for Liu Feng to have a thought before it would immediately strike and send the demonic bear flying. However, Liu Feng did not intend to use the power of the corpse demon. He wanted to break through in the face of adversity, so he raised his fist and met the attack head-on, showing a spirit of, "If I don't succeed, I will die trying." There is only one step between a python and a dragon. Once that step is crossed, a qualitative transformation can occur, and the python will become a dragon, soaring into the sky. Snap! A punch landed on the giant bear paw, producing a series of crisp cracking sounds as bones broke. At this moment, Liu Feng's arm was squeezed into an arc shape by the immense force, his meridians burst, and blood spurted out, staining his entire arm red. The intense pain made Liu Feng gasp for breath, almost fainting. Roar! The black-armored demonic bear roared, a cruel look appearing on its face. It then struck out with its other paw, intending to kill Liu Feng. At that critical moment, Liu Feng's body underwent a dramatic transformation. Hold head high! A clear dragon roar resounded throughout the heavens and earth, and Liu Feng's weakened aura rapidly increased countless times. Then he roared and condensed his left hand into a fist. All the boundless power gathered in this fist, and a dragon's head was faintly mixed in with it, opening its huge mouth, with wind and thunder flashing. Earth-rising dragon, break! Bang! A large hole appeared in the chest of the black-armored demon bear, and its huge body crashed to the ground like a meteorite from outer space, its life force gone. The demon beast corpses, no longer protected by demonic energy, were not as tough as expected and were easily cut open. Inside each one was a bull-sized inner core. The inner cores of a level 2 Shen-rank demon beast were quite valuable, enough to be exchanged for hundreds of spirit stones. Liu Feng put them into his void ring. Afterwards, Liu Feng also collected some valuable demon beast materials one by one. Seeing this, the unicorn lizard, which was not far away, was filled with horror. Ignoring its injuries, it frantically fled down the mountain. In Liu Feng's eyes, the unicorn dragon lizard was now a pile of running wealth. How could Liu Feng let it go? Even though his right hand was temporarily unusable and his magic power was severely depleted, he still lifted his foot and chased after it. It's unclear what method the unicorn dragon lizard used, but its speed was only slightly slower than Liu Feng's. In this chase, they entered the depths of the giant God Mountain range in the blink of an eye. The true forbidden area lies deep within the giant God Mountains. According to Elder Tian Feng, hundreds of years ago, a group of experts from their Dragon Hammer tribe ventured there to search for some rare and precious herbs. Unexpectedly, they encountered a peak-level demon beast, the extreme cold sky crocodile. Of the dozens of experts, only a few escaped, and all of them were severely injured and did not live long. A peak-level demonic beast is practically invincible on the snow continent. Even the current desolate king, Xian Yi, is no match for it. He would be utterly crushed if he encountered one. However, this is a rumor from over 300 years ago, and whether it's true or not is hard to say. Liu Feng shook his head. He didn't plan to stay in the giant God Mountains for long. After catching the unicorn dragon lizard, he would retreat. With that thought, he leaped onto a nearby ancient tree, several dozen feet tall, and sped off in the direction the unicorn dragon lizard had fled, disappearing without a trace. Bang! The unicorn dragon lizard's eyes were filled with resentment as it slammed its body against a stone wall. It did not die at Liu Feng's hands, but at the hands of the corpse demon hidden in the darkness who suddenly delivered a fatal blow. As he ventured deeper, Liu Feng dared not go any further. The chances of encountering a sect-level demonic beast were high if he went any further, so he simply had the corpse demon take action and seize the opportunity to eliminate this troublesome demonic beast. After recovering the demon core and rare materials, Liu Feng planned to leave. "Master," the corpse demon suddenly spoke. Liu Feng looked at the other party with some surprise. Usually, this corpse demon would only say a word or two in critical moments. What was wrong with it today? It slowly raised its furry right hand and pointed to the right front. "I feel something over there calling to me." "What?" Liu Feng's expression changed, and he turned his gaze to the direction the corpse demon pointed. He saw that the area was dark and gloomy, and all kinds of extremely terrifying cold energy were erupting out like a fountain. As they collided, they formed extremely terrifying turbulent currents that filled the sky. Whoosh! Before Liu Feng could even cry out in surprise, the corpse demon had already vanished in a flash, charging straight ahead to the right. Etc. Liu Feng couldn't stop him in time, so he gritted his teeth and quickly followed. The corpse demon was a great help to him, and he couldn't just abandon it here. Chapter 93: The Land of Extreme Een. Phew! The closer they got to the front, the stronger the chilling aura in the air became, even breaking through their protective chi and invading their bodies. Even Liu Feng, who was usually impervious to heat and cold, felt a chill at this moment and got goosebumps all over his body. Soon, the figure of the corpse demon appeared before them. In front of it was a bottomless pitch-black cave, from which the chilling aura in the air emanated. Whoosh! Before Liu Feng could react, the corpse demon swept into the cave and disappeared. What a strange cave! Feeling a bone-chilling cold emanating from the depths of the cave, Liu Feng hesitated. Should he go in or not? Who knew what was hidden inside? The fact that he could feel the cold from such a distance meant that there was probably something extremely cold at the bottom of the cave, or a treasure that could emit a chilling aura. After much deliberation, Liu Feng finally made up his mind to go in and find out what was going on, even if it was a den of dragons and tigers. After condensing a layer of magical energy shield outside his protective aura, Liu Feng stepped into the cave and disappeared into the darkness. Upon entering the cave, Liu Feng felt waves of chilling energy clinging to him like maggots, relentlessly eroding the magical shield protecting his body. Left with no other choice, Liu Feng had to channel some of his magic power to dispel the cold. Otherwise, his shield would likely have broken before he even reached the bottom of the cave. Of course, this is also a process that consumes magic power, but fortunately Liu Feng has a lot of pills to restore magic power, so he is not afraid of this consumption. Tick-tock! Water droplets fell from above the cave, but they quickly froze into ice in mid-air, then shattered into ice shards upon hitting the ground. Gradually, the deeper they went, the colder the air in the cave became. In the end, the chilling air from the ground surged in from all directions, each gust of cold air equivalent to an attack from a powerful swordsman. The resulting turbulence from such a fierce collision was incredibly terrifying. Oops! Liu Feng hadn't expected the chill to be so terrifying. In fact, it was no longer just chill, but also carried a trace of malevolent energy, making it extremely aggressive and constantly attacking the magic shield around his body from all directions. We must go back. Liu Feng was terrified. The magical shield above his body was completely shattered after only withstanding a dozen or so attacks of cold air. The cold air from the ground lashed against his protective aura, like sharp swords, directly cutting cracks into the aura on Liu Feng's body. In just a few minutes, the protective aura was cut into pieces. Without a second thought, Liu Feng immediately pushed off the ground and frantically channeled all his magic power to rush back. However, before he could get very far, a powerful suction force suddenly erupted from the depths of the cave, drawing countless fragments of rock and dust into its depths. Under the influence of this powerful suction, Liu Feng's body was involuntarily thrown backward and dragged to the bottom of the cave. The protective aura lasted only a moment before shattering. Streams of cold air, like knives, slashed wildly at Liu Feng's body, instantly turning him into a blood-soaked mess. It's over. Liu Feng felt a sense of despair. He couldn't shake off the pull no matter what, and could only watch helplessly as he was dragged to the bottom of the cave, while the chilling, malevolent energy grew stronger and stronger. In the process of breaking free, Liu Feng had no time to dodge and was struck by an extremely powerful, chilling aura. Bang! The moment of impact, Liu Feng spat out a mouthful of blood. It felt as if his internal organs had shifted. Moreover, what made Liu Feng's expression change drastically was that the surrounding cold air was becoming increasingly violent, with thick wisps of cold air constantly swirling around him, about to strike his body. Bang! Bang! 2 more loud bangs followed, and Liu Feng's body was covered in bloody welts. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his consciousness gradually began to blur in the face of this irresistible, chilling aura. Buzz! However, just as Liu Feng's mind was about to completely sink into darkness, a strange buzzing sound suddenly rang out, and then a gentle white light slowly spread out from the void ring, turning into a ball of light that enveloped Liu Feng's body. This white ball of light appeared fragile, but when the chilling aura that even peak swordmasters could not withstand rushed in, it only caused a ripple in the ball of light, leaving it completely unharmed. Under the protection of the light, Liu Feng's body slowly sank down, eventually disappearing into the endless darkness. When Liu Feng opened his eyes again, the world before him was not the endless darkness of before. A faint white light enveloped him, and although the halo seemed thin, it possessed an indestructible quality. Looking at the dark stone wall before him, Liu Feng couldn't help but weakly twitch his body. This time, his injuries were exceptionally severe, both internal and external, and his body was covered in layers of bloody shackles, making him look extremely pitiful. All around, apart from the chilling aura, was emptiness and desolation. Before him lay a still pool, its surface shrouded in wisps of cold mist, devoid of any life. Seeing this, Liu Feng couldn't help but smile bitterly. Although he was fortunate to have survived the disaster under the protection of that mysterious treasure, he was trapped at the bottom of this cave and was so badly injured. When would he be able to get out? Owner! Before Liu Feng knew it, the corpse demon had appeared beside him, startling him. However, to his great surprise, the corpse demon was completely unharmed, as if the chilling aura of the cave had had no effect on it whatsoever. How come you're completely unharmed? Liu Feng asked in confusion. The corpse demon said expressionlessly, Master, you may not know this, but I was born from the Yin energy of the earth. This cold and malevolent energy may cause fatal harm to you, but it is nourishing to me. I see. A look of understanding appeared in Liu Feng's eyes. He had subdued the opponent underground. This kind of in-sha cold energy should be able to be converted into energy for an evil creature like the corpse demon. Where did that chilling aura go? Liu Feng looked around and noticed that the extremely terrifying, cold, and malevolent aura was no longer swirling in the air. He couldn't help but ask in surprise. This is the only windless area in the cave, which is just the right place to avoid the threat of the cold. However, if you go out, master, you will probably die, the corpse demon explained. Liu Feng nodded, looking at the void ring on his hand, and couldn't help but sigh. This time, it's all thanks to this mysterious treasure. Otherwise, I'm afraid I would have been torn to shreds by those violent cold energies. Liu Feng touched the ring on his hand. The treasure inside was incredibly mysterious and powerful, but unfortunately, with his current strength, he couldn't even discover its existence, let alone activate it to do anything. Let's focus on healing our injuries first. We can deal with other things once we've regained our strength. Feeling the burning pain all over his body, Liu Feng didn't hesitate any longer. He took out a few healing pills and swallowed them in one gulp, starting to heal the numerous wounds covering his body. The corpse demon, the instant Liu Feng closed his eyes, leaped away from the windless area and instead rushed towards the windy spot, frantically absorbing the cold, energy in the cave to strengthen its own power. Chapter 94 Ice Mystic Pearl. The power of heaven and earth in this cave contains an extremely dense energy. If an ordinary expert were to absorb it, their body would be cut and wounded all over by the sharp and violent energy. Fortunately, Liu Feng's body is quite strong, and the demonic power in his body is much purer than the true energy of ordinary people. Although he still felt waves of pain when absorbing it, it was not unbearable for Liu Feng. Despite the excruciating pain, Liu Feng's previously depleted magical power gradually began to replenish itself, and the fluctuations around him were even more intense than before. It was clear that although this ordeal was severe, Liu Feng had also benefited greatly from it. On Liu Feng's body, the layers of bloody shackles rapidly fell off, and the gruesome wounds originally cut by the in-sha cold energy slowly healed. At this moment, the benefits of a strong physique were clearly evident. At least in terms of the speed of injury recovery, even a peak swordmaster would probably not be able to match Liu Feng. This recovery process lasted for a full half-day before Liu Feng opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with a bright light, and powerful magic surged around him. He seemed to be showing signs of breaking through to the second rank. Feeling the magic power surging within him, Liu Feng smiled slightly. With power came a sense of security, especially in this perilous situation, where no one knew what danger might arise next. At this moment, he slowly raised his head and was shocked to find that at the wind vent above the cave, the corpse demon seemed to have transformed into a black hole, frantically absorbing the and cold energy in the cave. The extremely sharp and deadly cold energy was like water flowing into a sponge and merging into the corpse demon, as if it had encountered its nemesis. After half a day of devouring, the fluctuations of the peak swordsman on the corpse demon's body had faintly reached a limit. With just one more step, it could break free from its cocoon and enter the supreme realm of sword master. Liu Feng slowly got up, not interrupting the corpse demon's cultivation. After all, such a place of absolute was rare on the continent, and it was the corpse demon's good fortune to encounter it here. He was naturally happy to see the corpse demon advance to the sword sect realm, so that he would have another great help, and he would have a better chance of survival if he encountered danger in the future. However, the difficulty of breaking through from a swordsman to a swordmaster is extremely high, and Liu Feng could not guarantee that the corpse demon could break through smoothly, so he could only pray in secret. Looking around, Liu Feng discovered that the bottom of the cave was semicircular. The ground beneath his feet was only a small part of it, while most of the rest was submerged in cold pool water. The passage to the two sides was blocked by a huge rock on the right, and there was only a winding path on the left side close to the rock wall, leading to who knows where. In order to find a way out, Liu Feng had no choice but to carefully walk along the path deeper into the area. After walking for about the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the path came to an end, but a bend appeared ahead. At the same time, the white mist on the surface of the cold pool grew thicker and thicker, showing faint signs of freezing. Feeling the temperature around him getting lower and lower, Liu Feng used his magic to ward off the cold. This time, he didn't hesitate and walked forward. As Liu Feng ventured deeper, just as he had expected, the water in the cold pool gradually froze into thick ice. Further on, The surface of the pool was no longer covered with ice. The entire pool had solidified into ice, so thick and solid that the water flow beneath the ice was no longer visible. Liu Feng was secretly alarmed and carefully stepped onto the solid ice. As the cold air intensified, he finally reached the end of the path. The sight before him left Liu Feng speechless. This is a spacious cavern world, where cold air currents are everywhere. In the center of these currents, a snow-white bead floats in the air, emitting a faint light. The surrounding cold air swirled around the pearl as if it were the axis, and waves of cold air, visible to the naked eye, burst forth from the pearl and then rose into the sky. Could it be that all the cold air here is emanating from this bead? A terrifying thought occurred to Liu Feng. If that were the case, how terrifying would this bead itself be? The turbulent flow of icy, malevolent energy outside alone would probably be enough to instantly kill a peak sword master. Even a master of the sword sect would likely not fare well and would be in danger of perishing in this dense, turbulent flow of cold air. Looking at the pearl floating not far in front of him, Liu Feng took a deep breath. He was certain that this pearl was a treasure, and probably not an ordinary treasure. It was at least a Dao artifact, no, even stronger. However, Liu Feng didn't dare get too close to the pearl. The waves of cold air were enough to make him suffer. He was afraid that he would be frozen into an ice sculpture before he even got close to it. Instead of rushing closer, Liu Feng observed the pearl from the side, pondering a safe way to approach it. Soon, his eyes lit up as he noticed a clue. After some observation, he quickly came to a conclusion. The pearl didn't emit cold air constantly, but rather at intervals of about 10 breaths. In other words, he had to remove the pearl within those 10 breaths to ensure his own safety. Having figured out this pattern, Liu Feng slowly began to approach the location of the bead, occasionally dodging the cold currents that darted around in the air. Finally, he advanced to within 50 steps of the bead. The opportunity has arrived. After waiting for the pearl to finish exhaling a wave of cold air, Liu Feng moved. He pushed his magic power to the limit, his figure as fast as lightning, and appeared around the pearl. Without hesitation, he stretched out his palm and grabbed at the pearl. However, to Liu Feng's surprise, the moment he grasped the frost pearl, an extremely terrifying chill suddenly surged from his palm, freezing his entire arm at a visible speed and rapidly spreading throughout his body. Oops! Liu Feng's first thought was that something was wrong, but it was too late. The power of this cold air was beyond his ability to stop, and it spread at an alarming speed, quickly freezing him into an ice sculpture. The fatal thing is that this spreading process is still continuing, penetrating from the outside into the meridians, blood, and internal organs of the body. If this freezing process is completed, Liu Feng will be permanently frozen here. However, as the chill spread to his right palm, a beam of white light suddenly refracted from the void ring. Upon touching the chill, the light immediately expanded like a snowball. The chill, seemingly terrified of this white light, was rapidly dissolved and vanished without a trace, like spring returning to the earth and ice and snow melting away. Liu Feng's frozen consciousness also woke up in an instant. The moment his body regained its mobility, he flicked his hand and threw the cold energy bead into his void ring. As Liu Feng collected the pearl, the chill in the cave quickly dissipated, and the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. The solid ice on the ground suddenly cracked open at that moment. Click! A thick crack appeared in the center of the solid ice and quickly spread in all directions. Instantly, the entire ice surface shattered beyond recognition, and the entire area beneath the ice of the deep pool was broken, gradually revealing a colossal ice sculpture. The ice sculpture's body was terrifyingly long, stretching out of sight, measuring approximately tens of meters long and 5 or 6 meters wide. Its enormous size was truly frightening. The ice sculpture resembled a crocodile, but its massive size and the 2 sharp horns on its head clearly indicated that it was no ordinary crocodile, but rather possessed the aura of a prehistoric behemoth. Why is there an ice sculpture here? Liu Feng asked with a puzzled expression as he approached the crocodile head. Liu Feng's gaze sharpened, and through the outer layer of transparent solid ice, he was astonished to see that inside the ice sculpture it seemed to be a living demon beast, rather than an inanimate object. How is this possible? Liu Feng's expression changed drastically, and he exclaimed in surprise. Just then, the crocodile monster beneath the ice seemed to be startled by Liu Feng's voice, and opened its eyes, which were devoid of any emotion and filled with endless coldness. Chapter 95 Heavenly Crocodile Silver Soul. When the crocodile monster opened its eyes, Liu Feng immediately felt a chill run through his entire body, as if the blood inside his body had frozen and stopped flowing for a moment. There's actually a monster like this existing underground? Click. A sound like ice breaking rang out, and a tiny crack appeared on the head of the crocodile ice sculpture, quickly spreading to its entire body. Bang! In just a few breaths, the massive ice sculpture shattered, sending ice shards flying everywhere. Without the support of the white beads, the thick ice that had formed on the cold pool melted instantly, turning into rushing streams of water that filled the entire cave. At the same time, the cave collapsed at an increasingly rapid pace. In the blink of an eye, the surrounding rock walls began to crumble, and huge rocks crashed down, creating towering waves. Liu Feng knew something was wrong and was about to take advantage of the chaos to escape when he was suddenly grabbed tightly by a huge beast claw. Then everything went black and he was lifted into the sky by a tremendous force. Bang! The thick stone wall, several meters high, was smashed as easily as tofu. The enormous figure of the crocodile monster burst out from within and soared into the sky. Its 20-meter-long black shadow blotted out the sun and covered the entire small mountain, forming a dark shadow. Roar! A deafening roar erupted from the crocodile monster's mouth, causing the entire giant god mountain range to tremble. Instantly, birds and beasts in the forest took flight and scattered in all directions. The enormous shadow twisted and distorted rapidly in the air, quickly shrinking until it transformed into a human figure that landed on the ground. Liu Feng was thrown to the ground, brushing the dust off his face, staring in shock at the figure before him. Standing before me was a middle-aged man with silver hair, covered from head to toe in a faint silver glow. Even his eyebrows and nails were silver, giving him an exceptionally eerie appearance. "You? Who are you?" Knowing that this middle-aged man was actually the crocodile demon beast in disguise, Liu Feng naturally dared not be negligent in the slightest and asked cautiously. As he asked the question, he felt a little scared. The reason why the crocodile was frozen underground must be related to the bead. If he took the bead, would the other party kill him? "I've been frozen by this damned ice pearl for 300 years, and I never thought that even the humans outside wouldn't recognize me." "That's right, when I roamed the giant god mountains back then, your grandfather probably wasn't even born yet," the silver-haired middle-aged man said proudly. Liu Feng naturally dared not refute, and repeatedly agreed. When you're under someone's roof, you have to bow your head. At this critical juncture, his life was in the hands of this person's decision, and this was not the time to show off. "You broke the seal, which saved my life. You are qualified to know my name," the silver-haired middle-aged man said without hiding anything. He glanced at Liu Feng indifferently and then asked, "Have you ever heard of the name Extreme Cold Crocodile?" "What?" Upon hearing the words Extreme Cold Crocodile, Liu Feng immediately took 3 steps back, dumbfounded. This silver-haired middle-aged man was actually the legendary overlord of the giant god mountains? Liu Feng couldn't help but curse his bad luck. His luck was truly extraordinary. There was only one Arctic sky crocodile in the entire giant god mountain range, which spanned thousands of miles. He just happened to encounter it. He could meet someone with a probability of several million. Who could compare to such luck? Seemingly sensing Liu Feng's thoughts, the silver-haired middle-aged man snorted coldly and said, "Young man, rest assured, I am a person who clearly distinguishes between gratitude and resentment. Since you have broken my seal, I will naturally not harm you. However, I am very curious about the method by which you were able to subdue that ice-profound pearl." Having said that, the silver-haired middle-aged man looked at Liu Feng with a questioning gaze. He was clearly only at the early stage of swordmaster, yet he was able to subdue a treasure that even he couldn't move. There must be some secret behind it. Liu Feng's heart tightened. How was he supposed to answer this? Could he say that his ring contained a treasure 100 times more powerful than the so-called ice-profound pearl? If he said that, the silver-haired middle-aged man would probably have no choice but to kill him. This junior doesn't know either. I took this ice-profound pearl without really understanding what was going on. If senior needs it, I can give it to you, Liu Feng said, forcing a smile. The treasure is a small matter, but life is of paramount importance. In any case, he can't use the ice pearl for a while anyway. The cold air on it is enough to freeze him into an ice block. If he can exchange it for his life, that would be the best outcome. Upon hearing this, The silver-haired middle-aged man glanced at him with some suspicion, but did not delve any further. Having been sealed underground for as long as 300 years, the long years had long since worn away his sharp edges. He was no longer the infamous Arctic crocodile of the past. He had lost all desire to fight. Now, all he felt was the joy of being freed. Your words are not credible. If it were before, you would already be a corpse. But now, I will not kill you. I, Gintama, have always been clear about my grudges and debts. Junior, if you release me, I will owe you a favor. I can grant you one request. Liu Feng looked at the middle-aged man in front of him in disbelief. Judging from the man's words, it seemed that he not only intended to let him go, but also to do him a favor. Could there really be such a good thing in the world? However, what should he ask for? Various ideas flashed through Liu Feng's mind. Martial arts techniques? Elixirs? These things didn't seem to be lacking for him. Kid, have you thought it through? Gintama frowned. I've thought it through. Liu Feng didn't dare hesitate for a moment and quickly agreed. Liu Feng understood the principle that delay could lead to unforeseen changes. After all, the other party was letting him go so easily only because they were in a good mood. If this dragged on, and the other party changed their mind, things would be very bad. Well then, Liu Feng pondered for a moment before speaking, in about 1 or 2 months, a major change will occur in the Desolate Clan, and there will definitely be an earth-shattering battle. My request is that you descend upon the desolate region at that time and lend me a hand. Magical treasures and secret manuals are secondary. The most urgent task is to have absolute confidence in completing the task assigned by Chu Tianhen. Only by completing this task can one obtain the final reward, the Desolate God Sword Technique. This high-level Earth-rank sword technique is many times stronger than any secret manual. No, to Liu Feng's surprise, Jintoki rejected him without even thinking. Why? Liu Feng asked, looking bewildered. Silver Soul's expression remained unchanged as he said, There is an alliance between me and the Desolate King. His Desolate Clan sword sect experts are not allowed to enter my Giant God Mountain Range. Similarly, my Giant God Mountain Range's sect-level demonic beasts are not allowed to enter the Desolate Clan's territory. We do not invade each other's territory. So I cannot help you with this. Hearing this, Liu Feng couldn't help but feel disappointed. He had thought that with the help of Silver Soul, a peak-level demonic beast, things would go much more smoothly. He hadn't expected that he and the Desolate Clan had such an alliance. Wait a minute, the other party was sealed in the cave for 300 years, so the Desolate King at that time shouldn't have been Xian Yi, but rather... I see, Liu Feng said with a slight smile. Senior, you may not know this, but the Desolate King Chu Tianhen is dead. The one who now occupies the position of Desolate King is his adopted son Xian Yi, who is the person I am going to deal with. With Chu Tianhen dead, the alliance is null and void, so even if you enter the Desolate Clan's territory at this time, it probably cannot be considered a violation of the alliance. Oh! A look of surprise flashed in Silver Soul's eyes, clearly not expecting that the Desolate King Chu Tianhen, whom even he feared, had already passed away. But thinking about it, he understood. Human lifespans were limited, naturally incomparable to those of them, the demon beasts. If that's the case, then I can lend a hand for you once. Silver Soul agreed, but then gave Liu Feng a meaningful look before changing the subject. However, I advise you that the Desolate Clan is far more complex than it appears on the surface. The waters run deep, so you'd better be absolutely certain before you make a move, otherwise, I'm afraid you'll die a terrible death. What? Liu Feng's pupils shrank. Chapter 96 Azure Winged Dragon. Why didn't Chu Tianhen tell him these things? Liu Feng was secretly alarmed. He believed that given Gintama's status, there was no such thing as baseless accusation. The other party must have some basis for saying so. It seemed that this mission was definitely not as simple as it appeared on the surface. Judging from the other party's words, it seemed that even with his help, their chances of winning were still very small. Could it be that there is some earth-shattering secret hidden among these desolate tribes? Liu Feng's expression was solemn. It seemed that he had to be cautious about his next move. Yin Hun's words today had given him enough of a warning. If he did not take them seriously, it could lead to mission failure or even loss of life. Thank you for the reminder, Senior. Liu Feng said gratefully. "You don't need to thank me," Hun said indifferently, waving his hand and flipping it to take out a silver-white jade talisman, which he handed to Liu Feng. "Once the war begins, you can crush this talisman and I will appear on my own." "All right, that's enough said. Until we meet again." As soon as he finished speaking, Silver Soul soared into the sky, transforming once again into a 20-zhang-long demonic beast. He carried a highly destructive storm and swept towards the distant horizon, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. After Hun left, Liu Feng finally breathed a sigh of relief. After all, he could always feel an invisible pressure in front of a peak sect-level demon beast. Even though his mental strength was strong, he could not ignore this powerful pressure and would be affected to some extent. However, Gintama's strength, after being sealed for 300 years, is not intact. It has been significantly weakened. If it were at its peak, it probably wouldn't have needed to worry about anything and could easily sweep through the wasteland. But now, with its strength greatly diminished, it certainly can't do that anymore. Shaking his head, Liu Feng was about to leave when he suddenly remembered something, and his expression changed abruptly. "Oh no, green hair is still inside the cave." Looking at the cave, now reduced to ruins, Liu Feng's face was grim. However, it was too late to enter the cave at this point. He didn't possess the overwhelming power of a sword sect expert, and he couldn't move the boulders in front of him to enter the collapsed cave. However, it is certain that the corpse demon is not dead, because as its master, Liu Feng can sense that its consciousness still exists, and it should be somewhere deep underground. Liu Feng conveyed his thoughts, but received no response. His consciousness remained unresponsive, as if it had encountered a stagnant pool. "What's going on?" Liu Feng frowned. This situation could only mean that the corpse demon was currently in a closed state of consciousness, cut off from the outside world. Otherwise, it wouldn't be unable to receive his messages. Liu Feng hesitated for a moment, but decided to wait a little longer. So he simply found a clean place, sat down cross-legged, and waited quietly. Time passed day by day. With only 10 days left until the 7th day of the 6th lunar month, Liu Feng opened his eyes, but at this time, there was still no news from the corpse demon. Liu Feng frowned. The corpse demon had been of great help to him, and the trials of the desolate clan were likely fraught with danger. Losing the corpse demon as a trump card would probably increase the danger even further. Therefore, he decided to wait a few more days. If it didn't appear by then, he would have to consider leaving. 7 more days passed. Liu Feng finally couldn't sit still any longer. Besides, time was running out, as there was still a long distance from the Dragon Hammer tribe to the wilderness, and at a normal travel speed, it would take at least 2 or 3 days to get there. If he didn't return to the Dragon Hammer tribe soon, he might miss this opportunity to participate in the trial. After leaving a message for the corpse demon, Liu Feng did not linger and vanished into the mountain mist in a flash. Dragon Hammer tribe territory. When Liu Feng returned home, he found a strange young man already standing inside. Upon seeing Liu Feng's return, the young man's face immediately lit up with surprise and joy. "I am Kuei-Lin from the Wind Defense Department. Elder Tianfeng sent me to inform you that it's time to go to the desolate region. Please gather at the arena as soon as possible," the young man said with a slightly respectful expression. Liu Feng nodded and replied, "Okay, I'll be right there. You can go back now." Seeing the young man's exhausted appearance, as if he had been guarding the room for quite some time, his eyes were even a little red and swollen. Upon hearing Liu Feng's words, he immediately felt as if he had been granted a pardon, turned around, and strode away. After the Kuei-Lin left, Liu Feng prepared several sets of clothes and some necessities, then tidied up the room a little before closing the door and heading towards the arena. In the magnificent arena, a dozen or so figures stood. The two in the center are the Golden Dragon Clan chief in a brocade robe and the burly Elder Lizhan. Beside them is Elder Zhuin, whose aura is as deep as the sea. The last person has an obscure aura and is Elder Yuza of the Rain Master Clan. Behind each of the 4 elders stood several young men with considerable auras. These were elites from the 4 tribes and were the seeded candidates sent to participate in the wilderness trial. Clan leader, 4 elders. Liu Feng bowed to each of the 5 people. The Golden Dragon Clan chief smiled and said, "Inglong, a month has passed. Have you made any progress?" Upon hearing this, the other elders also smiled. They had high hopes for Liu Feng, mainly because of his outstanding performance in the tournament. He had only recently returned to the tribe and had already mastered the Python Dragon Fist, demonstrating his extraordinary comprehension. He had cultivated almost all the martial arts techniques he acquired to a very high level. They appointed Liu Feng as the leader of the Dragon Hammer tribe in the hope that he would achieve a breakthrough and obtain excellent results. Liu Feng smiled and said, "My cultivation hasn't improved much. I'm still a little short of the second tier. However, I've made some breakthroughs in the Python Dragon Fist. I've just reached the second level of True Chi Transformation Dragon." "You can't rush your cultivation." "What? You've already cultivated to the point of True Chi Transformation into a dragon?" Elder Tianfeng nodded slightly, then stared at Liu Feng in astonishment. Liu Feng nodded. There was no need to hide this kind of thing. Besides, given his current level of attention, he couldn't hide it for long anyway, so it was better to just say it openly. Upon hearing this, the other young experts' expressions changed. Ji Lai was shocked. Reaching the True Chi Transformation Dragon Realm in just 1 month? What a monstrous martial arts talent! Previously, he only thought Liu Feng's swordsmanship was good, but he never expected that the other party's talent was not limited to swordsmanship. An ordinary person might not achieve anything even with more than 3 years. If it were him, it would take him at least 3 or 4 months to reach the True Chi Transformation Dragon Realm, and there was absolutely no one in the entire Dragon Hammer tribe who could do it faster than him. However, compared to Liu Feng, the gap is not just a little bit, but 2 or 3 times. Elder Lieshan was skeptical. The Python Dragon Fist is not easy to master. Transforming True Chi into a dragon is not just about making a dragon's roar, you also need to master the third move, Earth Rising Dragon. He didn't continue speaking, because Liu Feng, who had just been calm and collected, suddenly changed his demeanor, unleashing a powerful aura and letting out a dragon's roar, filled with terrifying explosive force. "Hold head high." Liu Feng threw a punch, and a phantom image of a dragon's head appeared on the tip of his fist. It let out a deafening dragon roar and slammed into the ground of the arena, creating a large, dark crater. It is indeed the rising dragon of Earth, and its power is quite strong. He actually used it so casually. Elder Lieshan gasped. He realized that he had underestimated his opponent. However, he couldn't be blamed. How could he possibly fathom Liu Feng's genius? Of the group, only the Golden Dragon Clan chief showed no surprise. He was already numb to Liu Feng's abilities. He had no doubt about Liu Feng's talent and strength. Even if Liu Feng mastered the fourth move, he wouldn't be too surprised. Roar! Just then, a deafening roar echoed through the arena, carrying a kingly and domineering aura as it swept towards them. Liu Feng looked in the direction of the sound, and his face showed surprise. Above their heads, a 2-legged dragon swooped down. It was a powerful creature with a wingspan of over 10 meters. Its body shone with a blue light and gleamed with a sharp metallic sheen in the sunlight. Its claws were so sharp they could probably lift a house with ease, and they were bent like anchors. A glint flashed in the eyes of the Golden Dragon Clan chief. "This is the azure-winged flying dragon, the mount of my Dragon Hammer tribe." Azure-winged dragon. Chapter 97 Elemental Mysteries. Liu Feng had heard of the azure-winged flying dragon, a peak-level Shen-rank demonic beast. The vast western wilderness was teeming with countless demonic beasts. Among those below the zone level, the Gale Leopard was considered the fastest, but those with a modicum of knowledge disagreed. In their eyes, the azure-winged flying dragon, a peak-level Shen-rank demonic beast, was the true king of speed, far surpassing all other demonic beasts. The azure-winged flying dragon can travel 6,000 miles a day, moving with lightning speed, more than twice as fast as the Gale Leopard, making it ideal for travel. Its speed is almost comparable to the Golden Dragon Chariot of the Northern Snow Empire's royal family. However, capturing this flying beast is extremely difficult. After all, it moves with lightning speed in the air, making it virtually impossible for a swordmaster to catch. Only when a sword sect member takes action, or even several sword sect members working together, can it be successfully captured. Using the azure-winged dragon to travel, it would probably only take them 2 or 3 days, and half a day, to reach the desolate region. Moreover, they would have plenty of time to familiarize themselves with the situation there. Whoosh! A gust of wind swept back as the azure-winged dragon landed in the center of the arena. The Golden Dragon Clan chief looked around at the group and said, All of you, go up! No sooner had the words left his mouth than a figure flashed past and leaped onto the broad, flat back of the azure-winged dragon. The first to go up was Elder Tianfeng, who was leading the team. After everyone had come up, he reminded them, use your true energy to stabilize your body and resist the air currents. The azure-winged dragon is very fast, so be careful not to get thrown off. Zhang Yan nodded and said, the elder is right. The first time I rode the azure-winged dragon, I almost fell off the plane. The speed was unbelievable. Upon hearing this, Liu Feng dared not be careless and secretly channeled his magic power. Splash, 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 splash. With a few powerful flaps of its wings, the azure-winged dragon leaped forward, shooting into the sky like an arrow. Its wings were tucked behind it to reduce drag. The speed was unimaginable. It was as if it were riding a rocket. The air rushing towards it was like a knife, cutting through its skin. Liu Feng dared not be negligent, and activated his magic to protect his body and block the airflow that was as sharp as a knife. Soon, the azure-winged dragon flew into the high clouds and soared into the distance. After the flying dragon disappeared into the clouds, the Golden Dragon Clan chief's eyes narrowed, and he instructed the 3 elders behind him, the trial has begun, and our plan must also begin. Go, it's time for the allied army that is resisting Xian Yi to be integrated. Upon hearing this, the 3 elders' expressions changed slightly, and they replied, yes. They sighed inwardly, realizing that the upcoming battle was inevitable. Above the sea of clouds, the azure-winged dragon flapped its wings and swept hundreds of meters in a single leap. A faint protective shield of true energy appeared around everyone, completely isolating the sharp sonic booms in the air. Elder Tianfeng stood like a mountain in front of the azure-winged flying dragon's back, relieving most of the pressure on Liu Feng and his group of more than 10 people. Otherwise, the powerful airflow generated by such speed alone could have easily blown them away and caused them to fall from a great height. Yinglong, it doesn't matter whether you win the championship in this trial or not. Once you enter the Holy Land, you must find a way to see the holy beast, Huang. Elder Tianfeng suddenly transmitted his true energy to Liu Feng. Liu Feng was startled. It seemed that the Golden Dragon Clan chief had already told the other party the inside story. Elder Tianfeng should be a trustworthy person. He nodded and said, I will do my best. But what about Princess Lingyun? Princess Lingyun will also participate in this trial. You'd better try to contact her within the Holy Land, but remember not to let others discover you. Besides the 8 desolate tribes, the trial teams also included elite teams from the desolate region, whose strength surpassed that of the experts from the 8 great tribes. Now that Xian Yi knew the desolate king's treasure had been taken, he would surely suspect that Liu Feng and his group were using this trial as an opportunity to get close to Princess Lingyun. Therefore, many of the experts surrounding Princess Lingyun are likely Xian Ye's spies, waiting for him to be exposed in the desolate clan's sacred land. I understand. Liu Feng fell into deep thought. This trip to the desolate region was fraught with danger. He would be facing the entire vast power of the desolate clan. If he was not careful, he would be crushed to pieces and die without a burial place. However, now is not the time for regrets. Liu Feng loves to gamble, and this time is no exception. He is going to have a big gamble with the desolate king Xian Yi. The loser will have to pay with his life. At this moment, Elder Tianfeng shouted, a large flock of demonic birds is heading this way. Everyone, hold your ground. Liu Feng looked up and saw a dark mass in the sky ahead, like a black cloud, rapidly approaching them. Concentrating his mental energy and straining his eyesight to its limit, Liu Feng finally saw the true shape of the black cloud. This flock of birds probably numbered in the hundreds, most of them being spirit-level demonic birds such as the crimson featherbird and the 4-winged flying serpent. However, the sheer number of them gathered together still created a formidable aura. These demonic birds were of low intelligence and were completely unaware of the powerful azure-winged dragon, so they pounced on it fiercely. Great Star Flame Fist! The azure-winged dragon was incredibly fast, and it was about to enter the flock of birds when Elder Tianfeng shouted and threw a powerful punch. Rumble! Large numbers of demonic birds exploded and burned into nothingness, the shockwave tearing a huge gash in the sea of clouds. Liu Feng was secretly shocked. The experts of the sword sect were indeed extraordinary. Every move they made had the destructive power to shatter mountains and split the earth. In Elder Tianfeng's hands, this great star flame fist was many times stronger than that of Ji Lai. Suddenly, the azure-winged dragon shook violently, and its speed dropped sharply. The group turned to look, and before they knew it, a gigantic demonic falcon had appeared before them, its massive, pointed beak sucking in the air and clouds in a spiral, like a bottomless pit that devoured everything. Several young people with lower cultivation levels were about to be sucked out. Elder Tianfeng clenched his right fist and unleashed a powerful strike. A fire dragon, several dozen feet long, swept out, instantly piercing through the body of the demonic falcon. The fire dragon continued its rapid flow, wiping out hundreds of demonic birds. Liu Feng's eyes lit up, and he asked, "Elder, this move of yours must be a self-created elemental martial art, right? The sword sex realm has already touched the barrier of elemental power. By comprehending the mysteries of the elements, one can comprehend the corresponding profound martial arts, which are extremely powerful and far surpass martial arts of the same level without profound meaning. That's right, this is a fire elemental martial art evolved from the great star flame fist, which I call Meteor Fire Dragon." Elder Tianfeng said with some pride, but after only a moment, he shook his head and sighed. "However, it took me several years to master this great star flame fist to its highest level. Sometimes, there's no way to compare between people." Liu Feng felt ashamed. Elder Tianfeng's words clearly referred to him. Standing to the side, Ji Lai also gave a wry smile. A genius who could learn a low-level earth-rank fist technique in a month was simply a freak. Even he could only admit defeat and acknowledge his inferiority to such talent. June 4th, afternoon. In the center of the endless wasteland, a towering black tower that pierces the clouds catches the eye. Above the tower, thick clouds cover the sky, and wisps of fierce lightning power are released through the clouds. In the distance, a blue-winged dragon broke through the clouds and flew in, flapping its wings a few times before landing in a camp outside the city. Flying is prohibited in the skies above the wasteland. This is a consensus reached within the wasteland tribe, and no one dares to challenge this rule. Therefore, the flying dragon can only land outside the city. As soon as the flying dragon landed, several heavily armored soldiers of the Wilderness clan approached. Upon noticing the clan emblem on Elder Tianfeng's sleeve, their faces immediately changed to one of respect. "So you are the lords of the Dragon Hammer tribe. Please wait a moment while we inform your Lord Manqian." The soldiers bowed and took their leave. This is the outer encampment of the 8 major tribes. Each tribe has a leader here. Of course, the envoys of the 8 major tribes in the wilderness are the official representatives and still reside in the city. Soon, a burly man who was 2 meters tall walked over, laughing heartily, and bowed to Elder Tianfeng. "I didn't expect that Elder Tianfeng would be leading the team this time. This way, please. I have already prepared a sumptuous banquet to welcome you all." "No need." Elder Tianfeng waved his hand. "Settle the azure-winged dragon down and then take us directly into the city." Manqian nodded, a hint of regret flashing in his eyes. He had hoped to take this opportunity to talk to the elder, but the elder's refusal was so decisive that it seemed he wouldn't be able to get his wish. However, he was just a minor garrison manager. The tribal envoys in the city held a much higher position than him, but compared to Elder Tianfeng, he was still far inferior. Led by Manqian, the Dragon Hammer tribe entered the desolate region. Chapter 98 Qi Shaofeng. As soon as the Dragon Hammer tribes group entered the city, they immediately attracted the attention of many people. After all, although many people enter and leave the wasteland in a single day, it is still very rare to see more than a dozen powerful and unfamiliar figures appearing at the same time. "Heh, the Dragon Hammer Tribes team, huh? They've finally arrived." As expected of one of the 2 strongest tribes, these 10 young men all possess impressive auras and remarkable strength. That young man leading the group should be called Ji Lai, right? He was from the Dragon Hammer tribe in the previous trial. I heard he performed quite poorly, getting wiped out by the Thunder tribe in the second trial and being teleported out. Although Ji Lai is quite strong, his command ability is too poor, so he's not very useful in the trial. Yes, the Dragon Hammer and Thunderfall tribes have been fighting for a long time. I wonder who will come out on top in this competition. I'm afraid it's still the Thunderfall tribe. The name of Little Thunder King is legendary. Among the younger generation of the Dragon Hammer tribe, I'm afraid there are few who can fight him. You don't know this, but some time ago, the Dragon Hammer tribe produced a newcomer who was quite famous. I think his name was Inglong. He defeated Ji Lai at the Muta conference. What? Such a thing actually happened? But Ji Lai's strength is probably much weaker than that little Thunder King Lei Quan. Anyway, this trial is going to be quite a show. Whispers spread rapidly, some reaching the ears of the young experts of the Dragon Hammer tribe, and many of them immediately showed anger and gloom in their eyes. Damn the Thunderfall tribe! If I don't personally kill a few of them during this trial, how can I go back and explain to my brothers in the tribe? Zhang Yen said through gritted teeth, his face dark. Many people around him nodded in agreement. Liu Feng frowned. It seemed that the grudge between these two tribes was indeed quite significant. If they were to meet again in the desolate clan's sacred land, it was unlikely that they would pass each other peacefully. Compared to the disciples' righteous indignation, Elder Tianfeng remained calm and did not pay much attention. Just as he was about to lead them to the city's encampment, his expression suddenly changed. He turned his head and looked at another part of the sky in the desolate region, where a terrifying beast roar resounded. Then, a Qilin with black aura appeared in his sight. What is that? Liu Feng narrowed his eyes and looked into the distance at the group of people. Their auras were equally powerful, and they were all dressed in dark blue robes. A faint, chilling aura emanated from their bodies, which made many people turn their attention to them. The Abyss Qilin, that's a member of the Qiyun tribe, Ji Lai said calmly. Oh. Liu Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. The Qiyun tribe was also one of the 8 major tribes, but its style was quite different from the other 7 tribes. It did not follow the domineering path, but instead adopted a gentle and subtle style. See that guy at the very front? If I'm not mistaken, he should be Qi Xiaofeng, the strongest of the younger generation of the Qiyun tribe and the son of the Qiyun clan chief. Qi Xiaofeng. Liu Feng followed the gaze and saw that behind a powerful old man stood a straight-backed, cold-faced young man. The young man's face was bluish-gray, and the chilling aura emanating from his body was exceptionally strong, clearly indicating that he had reached the peak of the 3rd-tier swordsman level. It is said that he has recently cultivated the 7 revolutions in refining technique to the 6th revolution. His strength is probably already slightly above mine. If we meet in the future, we should be careful. Ji Lai reminded him. Although Liu Feng replaced him as team leader, Ji Lai wasn't a petty person. After his defeat, he quickly adjusted and recovered from the gloom of loss. While he still couldn't fully accept Liu Feng's leadership, his attitude had improved considerably. Upon hearing this, a hint of surprise flashed across Liu Feng's eyes. It seemed that apart from the Zhonglei tribe, the other 6 tribes were also not to be underestimated. As Liu Feng gazed at the cold and stern young man, the latter seemed to sense it as well. His gray eyes indifferently shot over, and a hint of chill seemed to penetrate the space and envelop him. Liu Feng remained calm as his invisible spiritual power spread out, containing a trace of eternal sword will. This directly dispelled the chilling intent that was like a maggot in the bones, completely erasing the troublesome chill. As the chilling aura was instantly wiped away, the cold-faced youth's eyes flickered, and a look of surprise crossed his face. This chilling aura was unique to those who cultivated the 7 revolutions in refining technique. Once it entangled them, it would cause them a great headache. But now, this young man from the Dragon Hammer tribe was able to break through it so easily. Interesting. I didn't expect the Dragon Hammer tribe to produce such a figure. The cold-faced young man's eyes flickered, and then he slowly withdrew his gaze. Let's go. Before the cold and stern young man, the gray-robed elder exchanged a glance with Elder Tianfeng, then said nothing more, and with a wave of his hand, led the Qiyun tribe's team into the camp outside the city. After they landed in the camp, Elder Tianfeng led everyone towards the direction leading to the tribe's settlement. The surrounding crowd, watching the 2 major tribes arrive at the city, rubbed their hands together, their eyes filled with anticipation. The Holy Land trial was a grand event for their wilderness clan, and they wondered which tribe would be able to defeat all the others and stand out this time. Led by Elder Tianfeng, Liu Feng and his group settled in the western part of the desolate region, where the Dragon Hammer tribe's encampment was located. After arriving at the encampment, Elder Tianfeng allowed everyone to move around freely, only instructing them to be careful outside. Although there was nothing particularly dangerous in the desolate region, he was worried that these young people, being impetuous, might provoke someone they shouldn't. Upon arrival, Liu Feng originally intended to meditate quietly, but he heard that the West Market in the desolate region was quite interesting and often featured rare treasures. So, encouraged by several young men from the Wind Defense Department, Liu Feng decided to go and take a look at the West Market. After all, this vast western wilderness existed in ancient times. Compared to the two great empires, it was a sparsely populated land, burying many treasures. However, most of these treasures have been destroyed. Of course, there are also some ancient artifacts among them, but no one recognizes them. If someone has exceptional eyesight and finds some treasures among them, it would be a great harvest. The West Market is an extremely popular area in the desolate region, and the treasures found here are generally of quite good quality. Of course, the prerequisite is that you must have enough spirit stones and items to exchange. Otherwise, going there will be a waste of time. As Liu Feng and his group entered the West Market, a deafening roar of noise immediately engulfed them, causing a slight stinging sensation in their ears. The West Market was vast, yet even so, Liu Feng could still witness an astonishing flow of people on its wide streets. Along both sides of the street, there are many smooth and clean huge black stones. These stones are covered with light shields, and some figures resembling stall owners sit cross-legged. In front of them are all sorts of strange and unusual things, attracting the attention of passers-by. The Great Compassion Heaven-Facing Staff is a high-level human-rank martial art with immense power, absolutely no less than a typical Earth-rank martial art. Bewitching Dew, a divine medicine for battle. Just spray it on the enemy, and even if he is a great immortal, he will be bewitched and lose his mind. When Liu Feng first heard these people shouting, he was quite interested. But when he got closer and took a look of bewilderment appeared on his face. These so-called treasures were clearly just ordinary, common goods, simply given some impressive-sounding names to fool people. However, through observation, Liu Feng discovered that most of the stall owners were also powerful individuals with considerable auras. Judging from the different patterns on their clothes, they were likely members of noble families in the desolate region or solitary travelers wandering the desolate region, possessing extraordinary strength. Liu Feng glanced around casually, then looked away, strolling leisurely as he continued to observe the strange items appearing on the surrounding stalls. As he was watching his sides, he suddenly sensed a commotion ahead. Looking up, he saw a crowd gathering, and faintly heard a thunderous roar. Upon hearing the voice, Liu Feng frowned, while Zhang Yan and the others around him exchanged bewildered glances. "Isn't that Ji Lai's voice?"